Hello everybody, Andrew Casey at Hypersanity Books for Kids. We're touching on 10 points in today's video on how we can help young authors to building up with some book reviews and building within the community. We do have some rules to follow within this community which we'll touch on throughout the video. Otherwise, for now, let's get into it. Number 1. Parental consent. One thing I want to make clear for everyone under the age of 18, you need parental permission before you are to engage with us. We do have our email correspondence, andrewcasey@hypersanitybooks.com. All correspondences, especially in regards to building some videos around your book and about you, the author, we do need to have the email correspondence and we do need to be open to parental guidance to how we correspond. Majority of the young authors that I have had correspondence with, I am corresponding with the parents. Which brings me to my next point. Number 2, under the age of 12. I reviewed Damien Hanson's book and I have connection to obviously correspond to the father with his son, who was also young at the time. With this correspondence, it allowed me to ask appropriate questions and to allow the child to speak on their behalf to what they want said within the video, but to have the parental guidance all the way through the correspondence. I have also seen that Dean Hanson has published more books since. He is quite successful for a young author, so I'll be doing a lot of reviews and I've got a lot of questions to ask, and with that correspondence, it's to ask his father in corresponding to how we are to move ahead with doing a video. And that's what we want to do within this community. It is hard, especially for some young authors. And when you do have a book published, it's getting that little bit of support to help get you started. And that's what we want to do within this community. Number 3, nearly 18. So there was one other author who was a few months away from turning 18 and met through LinkedIn. Now, within the correspondence, everything's through message exchange, though I'll bring everything back to the email correspondence as the primary way of communication. And from there, unless you're part of different book communities, it's a little bit different how you correspond. But for all regards to this is how we correspond. Within the community moving forward, she wrote a book that is not necessarily for the Hypersanity for Kids channel. Therefore, her book was reviewed on our adults channel. So if you are of a certain age and writing for young adult fiction or adult fiction, we would not be promoting the book on this channel. Number 4, not my genre. Okay, if you wrote a book that's not our genre, it doesn't mean it's not going to be reviewed. There is certain content on what we will review and what we won't review. Therefore, if something's not my genre, I'll always say that at the beginning of the video. However, I also have an argument within the video to be open-minded towards a book that is not my genre. Number 5, Amazon. One thing to make perfectly clear, we are Australian-based, not American-based. So we don't purchase ebooks through Amazon.com, we have to go through Amazon.com.au. And we don't have control over the reviews that we do that way. I have had a lot of authors who we have set boundaries with to basically cut our ties because of the negative feedback that we get being Australian-based. I can't help it if I'm born in Australia, but that's where our business is. Now, from there, we are looking to eventually expand a bigger business. However, for now, this is what we're doing. And when we do certain reviews, what we do is we purchase the book through Amazon and then as the ebook, do our review, and that's how we work within this channel. Therefore, with certain book reviews, yes, it will be myself doing the book review at Hypersanity Books, not Hypersanity Books for Kids. We haven't quite got through to setting up anything else because we just have the parent company that we work within being Hypersanity Books for Kids. though with Amazon, that's one thing to bring up. We are Australian based and we have to follow the rules of the communities that follow. Number 6, early childhood books. Yes, if you have written something a lot simpler for a younger audience, such as Pig the Pug, we would look at asking some more questions. If you have written a book or a book collection for that audience, yes, we are more than open to doing some book reviews. Yes, we are open to doing reviews on that type of content. So if you have written for a younger audience and working on book collections, we would rather do the collection instead of buying every single book individually. We are open to promoting for younger early readers. There are other readers within this channel who are a lot younger, say the ages of 8 and under. Therefore, there has to be something within this community, and that's why we're keeping the content for this appropriate age group. However, I wouldn't run a full video on something as simple as Pig the Pug as one book. I would review it as a collection. So for young authors, if you are working on a collection, yes, reach out. We can work a way to help you. Number 7, publishing children's books. Chances are, yes, we are at the moment working on a children's book derived from our primary book that is the center of our universe in the adults channel, Dark Sparrow. We are working on a spin-off book to be a light, heartwarming book about an author with other mystical creatures, and within this book he is also doing 10 short stories. There is a bit of a story connected into the whole thing, but the idea is it's about having the heartwarming narration. The book would be aimed for middle grade and under with the book series, and the idea is to touch on some different subject matters to be a bit of a darker tone, because sometimes that can be healthy, and it's testing those boundaries, just like the Dark Crystal when it was created from Jim Henson. The idea is to have some of the darker themes to test the boundaries, because sometimes our fears can help develop in good early healthy childhood. Therefore, at the moment, yes, we do have one book in the works, and even though we've published Dark Sparrow with the Hypersanity Books logo, we are looking at publishing with the Hypersanity Books for Kids logo. So who knows which way the community is moving forward. Number 8, publishing my book. For young authors, there are different paths. You have traditional paths that you can take, but that requires a lot of work to get accepted, and there is a lot of rejection that comes with traditional publishing. I highly suggest self-publishing for young authors. Sometimes you might have a work that you like and then later in life you outgrow what you wrote. It's hard to say. We all go through different things. Though remember, there are some authors that publish when they're younger, and in adult world they publish for a more mature audience. It just depends what you're enjoying. There is also hybrid publishing, which we are looking at doing with Hypersanity Books for Kids, which will bring me to another point. Number 9, our vision forward. Even though today I've talked about young authors and publishing for young authors, and one of the other routes is hybrid publishing, where we are looking at being an investing company to work between some of the best of traditional and self-publishing to help someone get their work published. However, no, we will not be hiring minors, anyone under the age of 18. And the reason for it is a bit more complicated, where 1, need parental consent. Secondly, there are different regulations between different countries that make the situation even more complicated. Thirdly, you might have some other options that work better to not be taken advantage of, and that's what we don't want to do. We don't want to take advantage of anyone within this channel, and within our business model of Hypersanity Books being the parent company, we don't want to take advantage of anyone, especially minors. Also, we do have other authors that we're lining up to publish books through Hypersanity Books, and they're different stories that should be told another time. And that's one of the things. We are looking at investing in certain authors to help, but no, not for anyone under the age of 18. And sometimes it might be just a little bit more complicated. However, the future could be a little bit different in some years ahead, where we may have some different doors open and some different opportunity, but I don't foresee that in the near future. So for now, I do suggest looking into different self-publishing paths to write a few books and create some books, get published, get some reviews, and from there work out what you do like and what you don't like, because you might be associated as an author in your early years for writing for middle grade books, and then you may transition to writing for adult fiction. Who knows? We don't know the future, and we don't want to be projecting our business model too far into the future, because one thing, you have a general plan for a 5-year plan, but you mostly focus on a 1-year plan in the current 12 months ahead, not so many years ahead. Parental consent. If you do make contact, Andrew Casey at hypersanitybooks.com, I urge parental consent. There are some situations where there are children who are torn between parents, between mum's world and dad's world. And if custody might be 95% with mum and 5% with dad, if there is still parental consent from dad in this type of scenario, then that's okay. We are open to different situations. We're not judgmental. So within the community, there's still parental consent. And that's what we want to work on, is just working through some proper channels. However, if someone does make contact with a court order that says specifically or otherwise, we do have to work in respect to that. And if we do have a situation where it can become more complicated, where we have to remove videos, then we will have to have a discussion another time. But for now, the heavy subject is out of the way. There's some lighter tone forward. If you have published a book and you are under the age of 18, yes, there is a way to contact us and we can review your book. And hopefully within this community, and hopefully within Hypersanity Books for Kids, we can find ways to help you with your book. But for now, we will see you all next time.